We like it, Chris, but we just don't think we need it. Hey guys, Chris Zuiker with Media Options. I help companies to acquire the raw version of their brand. Work on some of the best domains on the planet. Check it out over at MediaOptions.com. Check out ChrisZuiker.com. I do a daily podcast over there. Check out my YouTube channel. Check out DNX.com. That's an application only, really cool site. Anyways, video today is this conversation I had this last week, and it was with the founder of a company who has had several different exits. Super successful, super great conversation. And as the conversation was rolling, one of the comments that came up with was that he's like, hey, I like it, but I just don't think we need it, right? Now I'm reaching out to them on the raw version of their brand. Now this is the domain name that's going to create simplicity, it's going to create clarity for them, and it's going to make the path effortless for their consumers. They're also going to be able to own the global positioning. Global positioning is it's the raw version, but it's like every other company out there has derivatives of that. So you think of Carrot, there's Carrot.co, a lot of different Carrots. I think over 10 that have raised over $1 million that have a vested interest in Carrot. Same thing with Hive. There's a lot of companies out there that have use Hive, but only one company that has the simplistic and has created this effortless path. And that was the same for this company. Now, a couple key points that came up. The first point was, well, hey, we had these other domain names, and so we just don't think, new GTLDs, the .co. Some of them were simple, but with the .co, the .a. I don't think they had the .ai or the .io, but they had different versions. Okay, and so they were like, we think we're sitting in a good place. We like this. We think it's neat. It'd be helpful for us, but we just can't wrap our heads around the investment. And but it's also, guess what? Look at this other big company in this area. They didn't do this. Okay, they used a 2-word domain name and added another word on. It really didn't make much sense. Okay, I can't tell you the industry, but in general, a couple of points that I brought up was, well, okay. First of all, let's dissect this. Okay, the first point is that this is the biggest risk that your brand has. I understand that you don't think you need it today. Okay. But what's going to happen if another company comes along and acquires us, which they will? In this specific domain name, we've had multiple offers over $1 million on this domain name that have been turned down. And I said, what happens? Well, someone who's buying that, they're buying it strategically. And when they buy this, they're going to put a tremendous amount of advertising behind it, momentum behind it. And so what's going to happen is that your consumers that you think today you own this, you own your brand, but they're going to see this one, they're going to see this one, and say, well, it's going to create this confusion in their mind because they see you're talking about yourself in this instance. Okay, let's say it's quilt, but you're really my quilt or try quilt or get quilt or whatever it is. Okay, and they see a company that literally owns the brand. Creates confusion. Anytime you create confusion and you don't make it effortless, that confusion costs money. Okay, it costs money. Now, once again, my thesis on domain names is your domain name equals your brand equity. Okay, this is my thesis. I can prove it over and over again. I created or I recapped the 7 dimensions to a domain name. Okay, global positioning, industry positioning, branding, marketing, SEO, email security, the ability to pivot. It's the biggest risk. I get it that you don't think you need it, but the reality is that when you realize it, it's too late. It's too late. There's nothing you can do after that's happened. So I related back to the conversation with Kraken and Kraken Rum, and how Kraken Rum put maybe $50 to $7 million in their advertising, but now they're below direct response marketing because Kraken has just dominated the conversation Kraken Crypto Change, they own Kraken.com, has dominated the conversation for Kraken. And very similar, this could happen to you. And so, you got to talk to your investors. There's a very real ROI behind owning your the raw version of your brand. Okay, this is an asset. It's not a marketing expense. Now, it's interesting because these conversations, they happen over and over again. And most founders can wrap their heads around, okay, I need this piece of equipment, right? Because there's metal and this equipment does this, okay, or I need this building for my warehouse or for my manufacturing, because you can wrap your head around that. Okay, your domain name is very, very similar. Okay, it's much more profound, much more impactful because of all the different dimensions, but it's very similar. And yet, what happens is that because it's new, quote unquote, right? It's not very new, but the industry, I don't think is really caught up to really understand the strategic nature of it. And most of these companies, listen, that is your warehouse, okay? That is your manufacturing facility. It's everything. wrapped into one, and yet they don't want to pay the money, but they would do it for a physical office, okay? But you wouldn't do it for this strategic asset that impacts everything, okay? Everything in your business, okay? Second point, I'm going to leave it here, but the second point was this: is that great? I understand this other competitor does this, but don't think they haven't paid the price. They've paid the price. Trust me. They've just built it into their model. They built this confusion into their model. And what they've done is they've allowed, and I got to go back and see who actually owns the wrong version of the brand. I believe it could be available. I don't know. But don't think that they're not driving traffic to this other brand. Like, I can tell you this over and over again. It happens. I've seen eyeglass companies that have driven 25,000 unique visitors a day to their competitor because they created confusion with their domain name. They didn't own the raw version. They created confusion. I've got the call from this company saying, hey, what do I do? Like, I've got this traffic coming in. It's like, do I sell it to them? Do I keep it? And I'm like, listen, enjoy it, but think strategically and just leverage it as best you can. You can see in email security. I've seen the founders, some of the biggest VCs in the world, some of the biggest companies in the world, actually emailing our clients because this other company had the .co versus the .com. Confusion, okay? When you create confusion, it costs money. It just does. When you create an effortless path, it creates trust, and this trust is rooted in loyalty, and loyalty is related with long-term customers, okay? More profit, more profitability. And that's the essence of owning your brand. There's options out there, but don't be confused and don't think that doesn't cost you money, okay? It doesn't cost you money. You need to create simplicity, you need to create clarity with your domain name. And great domain names will continue to have value. Listen, there's going to be industries that are going to pivot. There's like trillions of dollars coming into the market. There's confusion right now. Whether the dust settles, there will be industries that will pop back up. There'll be industries that'll be losers, and they just aren't going to come back up for a while. Probably travel. But listen, government loans, that's going to come back up. Like government loans, there's going to be government programs, and who knows what else in the stimulus bill. I have not read it. But money will continue to chase value, and as long as there's businesses, great domain names will have value because they're strategic, they're foundational assets, and you have to acquire it, you have to own it. Listen, going over to chriszuiker.com, the footer section, you can download my book, .com Strategies. It's also on MediaOptions.com, the resource tab. Download my book, okay? I did a book several years ago. I've made a commitment. I'm going to try to get my next book knocked out in the next 2 months here. It's going to be a little bit longer, a little bit more deep than my first book, which I put out, I think 4 years ago when I first started in this industry, which is pretty crazy. Anyways, download my book, share this video up if you found any value in it. You just got done listening to another episode of .com Strategies. Check us out online at chriszuiker.com and at mediaoptions.com.